Welcome, everybody, to another episode of, I would say, it's Cyclones Live here on the Voice of College Football Network. I'm Levi Stevenson, joined by my co-host, Carter Hansen. Been off for a couple weeks, back on. How's it going, Carter?
It's going well. It's going well. How about you?
We're in the off season, and this is the first off season we've had in a long time that feels like the off season. I mean, just the last however many years, there's just some dumb shit happening in the summer. Like the last time I can think that we had an off season that wasn't stressful for some dumb reason was like 2022, maybe. Like
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Like that was the summer where the whole storyline was like Hunter Decker's taking over as the starting quarterback. That was how Iowa State was going to do after all the NFL players leave and all that or whatever. But then the next summer it was the gambling thing. Then the next summer after that was realignment. Then last summer it was some dumb shit. I don't remember what it was. Realignment / everything blowing up / whatever.
Transfer portal too.
Transfer portal, just a bunch of nonsense.
Yeah.
And now we're finally like in an old school off season. We're really kind of just like talking about some recruit stuff. This is some other like typical like off season bullshit, like preseason rankings that everybody hates, and just typical like old school off season nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it feels good to get back to that.
Kind of, yeah.
It feels good to not have to worry about like a whole bunch of random crap going on. But no, I think we're at a good spot. It's exciting too.
Yeah. So today we're going to talk a little bit about football losing a running back, losing another running back, then gaining a running back. So we'll talk a little bit about kind of those roster changes. Talk a little bit about the basketball situation, about the basketball flip, Jackson Kiss leaving the 2026 class to flip to UNLV. We'll talk a little bit about that because there's a good explanation as to why that all happened. And let's see, what else do we have on the docket for today? Do we have any other? What else do we have going on? Oh, we were going to talk about Jamie Pollard's comments about the Big Ten, the SEC breaking away and all that. So we'll definitely touch on that later as well. Was there anything else we're going to cover today? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
Most of the docket.
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. So first up, let's talk about basketball first. So Jackson Kiss just yesterday announced he was flipping to UNLV, decommitting from Iowa State, recommitting to UNLV. And the explanation, and he was part of the 2026 class that also includes like Christian Wiggins, Yusuf Gray, and the deal here was that going into this season, most people, both in Jackson Kiss's camp and Iowa State's camp, believed that he was going to redshirt because they didn't know that he was going to be academically eligible for this season. But at the end, he ended up passing and becoming academically eligible, and he wants to play right away, which fair enough. Unfortunately, Iowa State has no minutes available for him next season because he was not like a can't miss prospect that like, if he's eligible, he's maybe being in the heavy rotation right away. He that just wasn't going to be who he is. He just a couple years down the road, you're hoping that he's like a contributing role player type of thing. And then you just see what he can be later down the road. So he flips UNLV, they'll have minutes available for him to play. I'm sure UNLV Rebel Girl, wherever she is, I'm sure she's quite excited, saying like, they stole a recruit from TJ Otzelberger.
A little bit of a revenge for Keyshawn Gilbert.
Yeah, look, shout it out. UNLV needed this more than we did.
Definitely.
They needed to feel like they got one over on TJ.
Yes.
It was so. I remember when that whole thing when he left UNLV. There was a few other fans, especially that one UNLV Rebel Girl on Twitter or whatever. She was just like, TJ will never amount to anything. Like UNLV is a better program now. I say a lot. Unfortunately, that has aged like a glass of milk in the Las Vegas sunshine. Yeah. But yeah, strange situation. But that's kind of the deal with Jackson Kiss. I don't know if you have any kind of thing you want to add to that, but like wasn't going to play this year.
No,
and
you don't really sweat that. I mean, he's a 4-star guy, of course. It would have been really nice to have him, but I mean, the minutes weren't there, and if that's what his camp really wanted was immediate playing time, it's almost like better for everyone. It opens up a roster spot for us to potentially find a guy late in the cycle,
Yeah.
um, or just find another recruit for the class of 27.
Yeah.
So it offers a bit more flexibility.
And I know I've seen some speculation that, well, there's an open roster spot now. And if Milan Momcilovic leaves the draft, could they theoretically, I mean, like, yes. Do they have a roster spot open available for him? Yes. The problem here is that one, could they come up with enough money?
No,
Probably not.
absolutely
Like
not.
I would say, it's like basketball is in a better financial situation NIL wise than they were even the beginning of this past season.
Mhm.
Just with new leadership changes and all that stuff, they've got a better situation to deal with that. But we like the rumor, whatever you want to call it, the kind of sort of known figure is that Louisville has offered him like $6.5 million, like a bunch of money. And like, could Iowa State theoretically get to 3?
2, 3, somewhere in there.
Maybe
Yeah.
like if they talked to Denny Alba or somebody like that and just said, "Hey, can you cut me a check?" or Steve Sukup or somebody, or whatever that, hey, can you cut me a check? Could they get him a couple million? Probably. They could probably find it. But could they get to 5? Because if they could get to 5, maybe Milan gives them the hometown discount type of thing. But I don't know if he can.
No.
The other part of this is that, does he fit with the roster? And I know that sounds crazy. I mean, he was the best shooter in college basketball, inarguably, last season, and one of the best shooters in the last decade or two in college basketball. However, this roster, I would argue, is a worse fit for him schematically.
Oh, definitely.
Than what he had available to him. Last year you had a point forward in Josh Jefferson. You had Taman Lipsey to help out with that, to help out defensively. You had Jamarian Bateman and all this, which obviously Jamarian Bateman's back, but Milan had more like having Joshua Jefferson last year to kind of take a lot of the pressure scoring wise off and defend, and when they're on offense, as far as like defensive pressure, he had Joshua Jefferson to take some of that pressure off of him. This year, right now, you don't have necessarily that one alpha scorer or the one alpha dog like Joshua Jefferson was last year to help take that pressure off. So right now, if Milan Momcilovic comes back, he is a number one. Deny the ball from this guy and make the rest of the team figure it out.
That's exactly it.
And as we saw against Tennessee, against Arizona, when other teams do that, when they're able to successfully take Milan Momcilovic out of the game, that puts Iowa State in a really tough spot.
Yeah. You alluded to it, the playmaking, it's not the same as what we had last year. There's no Taman Lipsey. There's no Joshua Jefferson. There's not as many guys that can find him for a corner 3 or even transition.
I think you have playmaking. Like Trey Singleton is from looking at tape, is a very, very good passer. Now he's not as good a scorer probably as Joshua Jefferson is, but like as far as a playmaker, I think he's probably in the neighborhood. So like, and you're hoping that Killian Toure takes a jump up.
Yeah.
And and Bully Johnson and stuff like that should be able to find him and stuff like that. So I'm personally, I'm not as worried about the playmaking part of it as like having passers so much as I'm worried about having guys that can take defenders away from Milan. That's where my main concern would lie.
Yeah.
And I think the Tennessee game and seeing what Tennessee did to Milan might have changed the equation a little bit, because they saw that like if you put a big body on Milan, he's not athletic enough to take a lot of guys off the dribble. He's not taking anybody off the dribble. He's not a great defender. He's not a minus defender necessarily, at least, but he's not a great defender. He's fine. He does fine on defense is the best way I would describe it. And he doesn't really create his own shot outside of the Dirk fade. But if you have a properly tall and athletic defender like AJ DeBonsa, who just erased that shot. If you remember when they played BYU, he tried it one time. AJ DeBonsa blocked it, and they never went back to it the rest of the game.
Yep.
And that sucked, because it was like, well, that was supposed to be the unguardable shot that, like, when in doubt, get it to Milan, get him in that fadeaway, and just let him go to work. And that shot got taken. It just completely got taken out of the game. So, I mean, that's part of what I'm assuming that the NBA is seeing a little bit too is like this guy is spot up shoot right now, anyways, is pretty much only a spot up shooter, and that's just what it is. Like where they may see his ceiling as like Kyle Korver, which Kyle Korver, very solid role player for a long time.
Yeah.
Limited, generally speaking, in what he can do as a player. Just cans threes, and that's pretty much what he does. I guess people remember Kyle Korver for that like 1 or 2 seasons where Atlanta was like crazy stupid good, and they were playing like basically like Greg Popovich ball light, whatever. And Kyle Korver was like really good for a season or two, but for the most part of his career, Kyle Korver was a very like average whatever player. And JJ Redick was like that for a long time. Now he found some success with the Clippers and stuff like that too, obviously. But for a long time, JJ Redick was kind of just a shooting role player type of thing. And teams are better now at finding guys open and getting guys open. The Golden State Warriors and Klay Thompson did a lot to make that happen. But in general, Klay Thompson was an elite, was a very top end, high top end defender, top 5 defender in the game when he was there. He did have a long career in the NBA. That's no doubt about it. Like Kyle Korver and JJ Redick both played forever. No question about it. But I don't think any team would have used a first round pick on Kyle Korver or JJ Redick, knowing the type of careers that they had. Like if you were taking if you were doing an NBA fantasy draft of the last 20 years and you were looking to find a shooter, you might take one of those 2 guys, but you're not taking them in your first 10 rounds. You're taking them later in the draft and being okay with it type of thing. Like they're not going to be high priority. They were never elite players. They were never like first scoring options or anything like that. And I think that's the thing that is probably holding Milan back a little bit, is he's just not a great defender. And he can't really make his own shot. He's not a super high end playmaker or anything like that.
Yeah.
That's the tough part. That's what's probably holding him back a little bit in his NBA evaluation. And that is also a factor now when he's going back to college, is now teams know that if they can put a long athletic wing on him and bully him around, push him around a little bit and deny him the ball and make it tough for him to find any space, you can kind of take him out of the game.
Definitely. Yeah, we saw that in the Tennessee game when they threw Nate Ament on him.
Yep.
And even when they had like Estrella on him as well, it was hard for him to get shots up. And I mean, that was a game that we needed him to. And so like, I don't know how NBA teams would look at that and say, like, if there's a big game, can you step up and hit shots even with tough defense on you?
Well, and the NBA schematically is a lot different than college and stuff like that too. They're a lot better at finding open shots. Excuse me. They're a lot better at finding open shots for shooters. Like I have no doubt that like they'd be able to find Milan open shots in the NBA. But in the NBA, is he shooting 40% or is he shooting 45% or is he shooting 38% or something like that? Because like good 3-point shooters in the NBA need to be 42-ish or higher percent. Like they need to be like good shooters. If he's doing everything mediocre-ish, maybe a slightly better, but like he's a non-factor on the boards and all that. Like, is he good enough from NBA range to be only a shooter? Like only a shooter.
Yeah.
And that's the tough part.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, I don't know if at that point, I don't know if you could justify him being a first round pick. And I think the only way that he does stay in the draft if he does get guaranteed first round feedback.
Yeah. And that's well, and if you look at it too, like if you go back and look at the careers of, Kyle Korver, JJ Redick, or any of these, pick a shooting specialist, or like most of them in college were also still like very gifted scorers, even outside of just shooting threes. Like if you remember, like people kind of forget because it's a long time ago now, but JJ Redick in college was just generally a monster. He was unbelievable. He was much more than just a sharpshooter from outside. Even in college, Milan is pretty much as an outside shooting specialist. And that's what makes it really tough. So we'll see. I mean, when he gets to the NBA, I think he will stick around for a little while just because shooters will stick around. But it's going to be tough for him because if he can't get guaranteed money, he can't get, $2 million a year guaranteed right away in the NBA. He can go make 6 at Louisville for a year and
Yep.
then come back into a weaker draft class. And probably if he can shoot 42% next year, 45% next year, he's not going to shoot 50%. It's just not going to happen.
Absolutely not. No.
Even in a weaker league like the SEC or something like that, like they're just not gonna. It's just not going to happen. But if he can be at the 42 to 45% range, he'll be a first round pick next year, just because it's a weaker draft class and he can kind of prove it a few years in a row type of thing. And he's just going to make a bunch of money now. So at this point, I don't know. I'm kind of expecting to see Milan in another college uniform next year, but we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah. I think the deadline's what, the 27th, 26th?
28th, I think.
28th? Okay. So, I mean, yeah, next Thursday will be the decider, but
sometime late next week. I mean, he might surprise me and stay, but I don't know.
It's a tough call.
It's tough, especially if he's just fringe, just like right there, like maybe late first round, early second round. But late first round's a lot different than early second round.
Yeah.
Like second round picks become two-way prospects. First round picks are on the roster and they're getting guaranteed money. Like,
I mean, hell with the new rules with like RJ Lewis, we might see him go second round, but then come back to college.
Yeah. Well, but in RJ Lewis may or may not even get his thing. Like so far, it seems like the NCAA has been reluctant to give those guys eligibility. Fortunately, they need to continue to hold fast on that, which I'm sure they won't. It's the NCAA, but
that fold.
So I don't know. We'll see. But right now, I would put the odds that Milan playing for Iowa State next year at
0.1%,
at less than 5%, less than 2%. Like it's just not in the cards, both money wise and like they've already formatted their roster to play a style of ball that isn't gonna fit Milan that well, probably. And yeah, like shooters can be on and they can fit on any team, but like it's just different. And I think this roster is not conducive to him being great on this team, and certainly not him shooting 45% because he's going to draw the number one defensive assignment every single game.
Yep.
And he's going to have to deal with it. And maybe that's maybe you could say, well, that's Milan's like, impetus to get better at making his own shot and get better at, beating guys one-on-one. But he did not show that ability last year. And so you're really rolling the dice there that he's going to be able to do that. And if you can't, then all of a sudden you have a $5-6 million player in a roster that's kind of a dud a lot of games because he's getting all the defensive assignments and also being a very like average defender himself.
Yep. It's going to be interesting to see what he does. If he does come back to college and if he does go to like a Louisville or a Kentucky, it will be interesting to see what his play style is, especially if he goes to like a Louisville. Where, I mean, he's going to be surrounded by higher level talent than there was at Iowa State. And like,
I think Kentucky's a mess, but like Mark Pope knows how to get shooters open.
Definitely.
If there's anything Mark Pope knows how to do, it's get 3-point shooters open. Apparently not a lot else, but he knows how to do that. So, you could make the argument there that Milan would probably be an okay fit at either place and he'll make a bunch of money at either place. And he, if you're going to come back, then those two will probably be perfectly happy to get into a bidding war with each other. So
funny to watch.
Yes. So he like after the pregame thought he was going to step up and be more aggressive. And I think a lot of people kind of thought that too, but, I don't think he wasn't like, I don't think he didn't step up and be more aggressive, but I think we found out his limitations. I think is what we saw. It was less about him not trying. It was more about finding out that he has limitations on his game as far as how well he's able to get open just due to his athleticism, which is fine or whatever, but not great, not good enough that if you have a 6'7", 6'8" wing that's athletic and long, that's going to be a big problem for him.
Yeah. Like if you throw a Leon Bond on him for next year,
unfortunately, if Leon Bond was guarding him, Milan would be in bad shape. That'd be a tough matchup for him. And everybody's going to take their best defender, find a long defender, and just put him right on there. Like even if they're pulling putting an extra 4 into the game that can chase him around, but you don't love him being away from the rim or anything like that. That's kind of a thing that they're just going to have to deal with. Is like he had a lot of trouble dealing with size. So
yeah.
So all that is to say, I would not get your hopes up that even that open roster spot is available for Milan. If he came back, they would probably make it. They would try to make it work, but I don't see it.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, on to football. So I would say it's been a little bit of a carousel at running back in the spring for decent enough reasons. Obviously, Jane Jackson left a while back ago and now is still tweeting about Iowa State about how he feels slighted by the program. It's like, dude, from everything that we've been able to gather, it just kind of sucked. Like, there's not really a good way to sugarcoat that. He just wasn't good. And
and there was a comment on X that I had seen from some I don't know if it was like some credible guy, but if that comment was true, then
that he had off the field
Buddy
stuff
should have been on his. Yep.
I mean,
Buddy
from what I understand is like his on the field. From what I understand is his on the field stuff was enough to cut him. But if there was also off the field stuff, then good riddance.
Yep, exactly.
Then it's Salahuddin Allah. Apparently blew his Achilles like last week or 2 weeks ago and is out for the season, and which he was expected to be kind of like situational goal line power back type of thing. They went in the portal, got a kid from Tulane who's basically going to fill that exact same role. I would not expect him to play a lot. Ideally, if everybody stays healthy, he's going to play very little. Like you said, except for some of those situational, very situational goal line stuff where they may just want an extra power back in there. But even then, you're probably just going to put Aiden Flora in there and let him weave between defenders a little bit, and just get an extra tight end out there or something. So I wouldn't expect a ton out of him. It's just he's in the room to be an extra body in that room. Just Flora and Petaway are definitely still your 1-2, and we'll see what the health of River Peppers looks like. Jimmy Rogers said that he thinks River Peppers will be like practicing in fall camp, which seems incredible since he blew his Achilles last October at Colorado in his first ever play. But we'll see if he's ready to go. Awesome. Because one of the first shows that I ever did on this channel was breaking down recruit film. And we just sat there and just gushed about River Peppers film for like 20 minutes. Like his high school film is awesome. He's an explosive guy. He runs hard. He's super athletic, super elusive, hard to bring down, hard to get a hand on. And if he's healthy and ready to go, I love having River Peppers into that rotation at some point to help, shoulder the load with Flora and Petaway too. So all in all, I don't think the running back piece. It's a depth piece. I don't think it's really like super noteworthy necessarily, other than just, this is the guy in the program that came from Tulane, which is a good football team and it has been a good program the last however many years. Other than that, it's not a big needle mover. I don't think. Certainly not meant to be a slight against him, but obviously it's kind of got its 1-2 punch already kind of figured out. And both of those are very, very explosive 1-2 options. Yes. So it's kind of just a situation there. Like, and I'm sure like I'd have no, like I would assume that like the staff was very upfront with him saying, hey, we've kind of got, we need a depth piece. Bring in, we'll give you an opportunity, to show what you can do. But like, you're going to fit into this rotation behind Flora and Petaway. Like I would be pretty shocked if they weren't very upfront with him and giving him the expectations and just setting expectations that, hey, you're not going to be getting 20 carries a game. You're not going to be getting 10 carries a game. You might get a couple and it might be sporadic.
Yep.
So kind of all there really is to it. There's really not much more to read into there. But what was funny though is I got a kick out of when they were interviewing him at the tailgate tour, And so looks to be a third down back. I would disagree with that actually, because usually your third down back, you also want to be a threat out of the backfield catching passes. Typically, like third down backs are not your power backs. They're not the ones that are gonna. You're not gonna. It's not like football used to be, where like a third down back is just a guy that's gonna plow forward and get 3 yards or something like that. In modern offenses, third down backs are typically your best pass catchers because you want them to be an extra receiving option. So right now, Flora is probably your third down back. Yeah, Pedway obviously here and there, but like one of those two is going to be your third down back. But anyway, so listening to his interviews from the tailgate tour, it was funny because someone asked, is like, he had said like, that Eli had torn his Achilles and that they were looking at it back in the whatever. And I don't know which report it was because I was just reading the transcript, I think on 247. But he asked, there's like, so I saw that you're bringing in a transfer. Was that in any way related to that injury? He's like, yeah, we need another running back. And then like 3 or 4 more questions after that were all just like, yeah. So you're bringing in, like, what are your expectations for him? He's like, to be another running back. Like I could read him becoming visibly just more upset, as like more annoyed as the interview went on. It was pretty funny because I got a chance to talk with Jimmy a little bit at Size House of Trivia for like 5-10 minutes. And he is like the most like straight shooter guy you'll ever meet in your entire life. Like he'll give you the most straightforward answer you've ever heard. And it's like he is like brutally honest. And that's part of why I think like when they brought the new back in from Tulane, like I would be blown away if they weren't very upfront with him, say, hey, we think you can be a situational guy for us, but we don't need you to be one of the main guys. We just need a depth piece thing like that. That's what it's going to be. And that's why I think that the expectations would be properly set there. Plus, there's a reason they were able to find this guy in late May in the portal. Like, I mean, if he was a super high-end running back that was very highly sought after, he wouldn't have been sitting in the portal for the last 4 months.
Yeah.
So, just kind of one of those things. So he's not going to be like Woody, 3 yards, 3 touchdowns. I mean, like, probably like
Maybe.
not a game, but like, on the season, he'll probably have a couple touchdowns or something. But
yeah, we'll see. He's a guy that you can throw out there in case someone else ruptures their Achilles or something like that. But
I'm about tired of Achilles tendons in general at this point. Because that's what Braden Alls blew too. He blew his, that
was ACL.
It was an ACL. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because we were speculating
Cooper.
like if theoretically Braden Alls could be back for a late season push or something like that, but probably not.
JMO tore his Achilles. Or
Jontez blew it. No, that was a knee. That was a knee.
It was Jeremiah Cooper.
Was he an Achilles or was he a knee? I think he was a knee. Both of them were ACLs. Who blew their Achilles? River Peppers blew his Achilles.
River Peppers did it as Achilles.
I'm pretty sure Jeremiah Cooper and Jontez were both ACLs. I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
They were both ACLs in the same week because Jeremiah Cooper's was in a non-contact drill, and then
Jontez
got rolled up. Jontez got rolled up on against Arizona.
Yeah, I thought someone else tore their Achilles, but maybe
I'm also fascinated that Jontez went to USC. I'd be curious if like it's just a money thing or that he was just like, I'm good on Campbell. I'd be curious because he's not from California. He's from Florida.
No, he's from Florida. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like he was like going back home or anything like that. So
I mean, trading Ames, Iowa for California, it seems like a pretty good trade for environment. But
I mean, I guess, but like he could have made a bunch of money, been with the same coaching staff at Penn State, and Penn State's like I would argue is probably like relatively equally thought of as USC. So I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Who knows? I don't really care, but more just curious than anything because like that was one of the best players on the team last season, just one of the best overall players, and didn't follow Campbell. So who knows? No, but the tailgate tour was fun last night. I think they're finishing up they finish up tomorrow night. I want to say or tonight or tomorrow night. If you guys for next year, if any of you guys have never been to the tailgate tour, I really enjoy it. I think it's a good time. You get to hear from like Chrissy Johnson Lynch, and then like this year, Allie St. John spoke about the women's program and kind of getting that thing fired up. And uh, they got their first women's wrestling commit the other day, a transfer from William Penn, which William Penn is a very, very good program at the D3 level, D2, D3 level,
D2, I think, or
D2. Okay.
NAIA actually.
Are they NAIA? Oh yeah,
I think
they are
yeah.
NAIA. Yeah.
Yeah.
William Penn is very, very good for where they're at.
Mhm.
And their previous head coach is now an assistant under Allie St. John, and he brought his best wrestler with him.
Yeah.
So talked a little bit about that. You get to hear from like Kevin Dresser and Brent Metcalf and all that. That was fun because I went to the one in Cedar Rapids last night, which is right up the road from Iowa City. And so they like Kevin Dresser and Brent Metcalf was like, we wrestled down the road, but we had a lapse in judgment. Now we're, wrestling, now we're coaching the good guys and stuff like that. So that was fun. You get to hear, from all the coaches, which is a lot of fun. And did they get another one from William Penn?
Yeah, there was an Olympian.
Because they got the first one. I cannot remember her name off the top of my head, but did they announce one like today for a second commit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect. So, and there's a lot worse places you could start than that program. And the first one they had gotten, again, I totally am forgetting her name right now, but
Piper something.
Piper, yeah, it's Piper.
Yeah,
she was a U17 world champion, and now she's going next week to the U20s to try to win another world championship in Slovakia, I think is what it was, or Slovenia or Slovakia. And so, Iowa State is going to be bringing on a world champion that had a lot of success at William Penn as well. They're all going to wrestle next year unattached as a red shirt, and then be part of the inaugural squad in 27-28. Yep. I tell you what, though, I don't go to a lot of, I don't think I've ever been to an Iowa State wrestling meet. I don't watch a ton of them. I'm not a wrestling guy, but I do watch the Iowa meet every year, and I'll watch maybe like the Oklahoma State meet or something like that. But I'm going to make a point to be at that first women's wrestling meet. I think it'll be electric. Like I think Hilton will be damn near full.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just such a different change of scenery. We haven't really seen like a new sport in quite a while.
Long time. Well, and they wrestle freestyle instead of folk style, and freestyle is a little bit more, they're more fireworks. There's a lot less kind of just like just kind of fucking around and standing and like stalling and stuff like that. There's a lot less of that. You get more points for takedowns and for more points for tech falls and all that shit. So it's a little bit more exciting style. It is relatively equivalent to like college softball and college baseball, where college softball is actually probably more fun to watch than college baseball. It's a lot faster paced and all that. It's a faster game. And women's wrestling is kind of like that in comparison to men's wrestling. So that'd be fun. I'm going to make a point to try to get to that one because it'd be cool to just be there for like a historic event too for the first meet, because Iowa State will have a chance right away to be very competitive. So that'll be fun. Let's finish up the show here a little bit. Let's talk about Jamie Pollard this week at the tailgate tour. Little off the cuff, was interviewed with asked some questions about the SEC and the Big Ten, like threatening to break away from college football for years at this point. And essentially said he's sick and tired of them going against the College Sports Commission, which they helped create. We got the clip here. Perfect.
Yep.
See if we can.
It's frustrating because collectively the four conferences created the CSC, and we spent a lot of money. The four commissioners spent a lot of money creating the CSC. And so then to have two of the conferences not want to adhere to it is perplexing to me, because then it's like, well, why did we spend the money? If you didn't want rules, then why did you create this entity? That's what's frustrating to me. The same people that say they want rules only want rules if they don't apply to them. I mean, I said it 3 years ago. Let them break away. I'd say I would turn it around and say we should break away from them. Let them go, but they have to go in all their sports and see how fun it is to play baseball and softball and track when it's just the 20 of you, and that's what I think we should do. But I'm one person, and that's probably a little more draconian. But that's how I feel about it. Like, let's quit talking about it. Quit threatening. Go do it. But if you're going to do it, you don't get to just do it in football and then keep all your other sports with us. No, take them all. See how fun it is.
And I really like that answer by Jamie Pollard there. My qualms with Jamie Pollard have been known for quite a while at this point. I've made no bones about that I am not the biggest fan of Jamie Pollard, but I totally agree with him on this take. I think I love this perspective. I love that someone said it. We've all been kind of thinking it for a long time. This like if you guys are gonna just start, if you guys are gonna do all your saber, you guys are doing a whole bunch of saber rattling, but it's time for you to put your money where your mouth is and break away. And I think the SEC and Big Ten could probably pull it off for football, like just only football. Like I think they could probably make it work because they would become functionally a minor league for the NFL.
Yes. Yep.
Now let's not skip over the fact that minor leagues, nobody fucking watches on TV. Nobody watches minor league baseball on TV. Nobody watches minor league anything. Nobody watches the G League. Nobody watches any of that stuff. Setting that aside, they would, if they did want to break football away, the rest, every other school in this country that's not in the Big Ten or the SEC or would be part of this, separation. Nobody else would schedule them for anything. They shouldn't. They should all, and they would all essentially boycott scheduling any events with those teams for any sport that isn't football, including football. And all of a sudden, like I said, I think they could pull it off for football, but basketball, no shot.
Hell no. Absolutely
no shot.
Not.
And any other sport, no way. No way. And that's like I think they could try. I personally am also a believer that like them pulling football away like would be, I think they would get eyeballs initially, but then afterwards, like what is the motivation for it? Like we're currently, what is Iowa State's motivation to watch LSU versus South Carolina?
Absolutely.
Well, right now, the only reason you could say is we are theoretically playing for the same championship, and maybe we're going to see one of them in the playoff. If you were going to find a reason, that would be it. Like you're watching other teams in the league because maybe like one of them losing gets Iowa State, up further in the poll and maybe gets you in the playoff. That would be a reason to watch that game. Or like Texas Tech. Maybe Texas Tech is another good example too. Here, like maybe they're on the verge of an at-large bid, and they need somebody. They need the team ahead of them to lose, and they're playing an SEC game. They're probably going to watch that game because they're going to see if that team wins or loses to see if they can jump into the polls. Well, now they're not even playing for the same trophy. They are not in the same league. They might as well be in a different country. Why would anybody else, of any fan of any other team, watch any game from that league? Unless you're a fan of those teams, why would you watch a single game from that league?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yeah.
Like they say like, well, but it's Ohio State and Michigan. It's historic. Barcelona and Real Madrid is like one of the most passionate rivalries in any sport anywhere in the world. Do we tune in? There's lots of people in the United States that do tune in Barcelona, Real Madrid, but do people like make that a point? Like we need to catch this game in Spain that's going to go on that's going to happen at 9:00 in the morning our time? No,
hell no.
We don't. Nope, we don't. Like just because it's a big historic rivalry doesn't mean anything. That does not mean people are going to tune in. Like people don't tune in to every single Yankees Red Sox game just because it's happening. Granted, that's a little different. Those happen 20 times a year.
13 games, yeah.
Right. But like just because Duke and North Carolina are playing doesn't mean everybody tunes into that game. And they do right now because, we might see Duke or North Carolina in the tournament. But if they were playing in a different league, would you watch Duke or North Carolina? No. Like, do you make a point? Is Lakers Celtics in the regular season appointment television?
Absolutely not.
I mean, you can make an argument that there aren't any appointment TV games in the NBA regular season, but it's the same thing. It's like, I'm not going to watch the Iron Bowl just because like I don't care about that game because it's not even in the same league of the team that I care about. So I think it would dilute their football product as well. But I mean, even if you say that the football product survives, the rest of it's fucked.
Oh, no. Yeah. The level of programs for the level of competition for those other programs is just down the shitter. If you exclude the Big 12, the ACC, and even some of the like Big East as well, it's like no shot.
And that's like, yeah, that's the thing is like in basketball, if you left out the Big 12, you might as well leave out SEC football because the Big 12 is the most prestigious basketball conference right now, bar none. Like the ACC barely matters at this point. The SEC jumped up 2 seasons ago now. Like they were really good for like a one-off year, but then they were kind of bad this year. The Big 10 has been very mediocre for a long time. Like the Big 12 is right now what the SEC was to football for most of the 2010s and most of the 2000s and 2010s, where they're just like clearly the best conference. And if you left the Big 12 out of college basketball or out of their version of college basketball, nobody recognizes that as a legitimate league. If you leave out the Big East, you leave out the ACC, you leave out part of like the WAC and shit like that. Like if you leave those conferences out, you have an illegitimate college basketball league.
Yep,
you just do. And maybe baseball is fine because the ACC and SEC both have good baseball, but like, I mean, sure, I guess, but great. You've got fun college baseball.
Who the hell gives a shit?
I say, let's just be. And I realize we're biased as Iowa State fans because we just don't play college baseball. But like,
yeah, let's
be real here. I mean, like, ain't nobody watching college baseball. It's just not happening.
No.
Right. This is great. And like, I'm kind of in the same boat. I do watch some. It's very rare that I watch a game that is exclusively not Big 12 or Iowa State. It's very, very rare. Like you'll never see me tune into a Saturday night Ohio State Penn State game. I can't be made to care about that game.
No, especially if it was basketball too. Like, oh my god.
I know like we have a couple guys in the like on our CF After Dark set, like Dylan and Tom. They'll watch any game and Austin. They'll watch any game you put in front of them. They'll make appointment television to watch Campbell and Mercer play at midnight on a Saturday. They'll watch anything. But they're just junkies though, or whatever. But like football's a little bit different. You don't really see a lot of like true college football junkies that will watch anything and everything. I mean, there are plenty, but like, I don't know. I think it's not quite the same thing. But like, but they're also like, even the college basketball junkies that are watching Campbell and Mercer play, or they're staying up till midnight to watch Pacific play Hawaii or Chaminade play Hawaii or something like that. Like, they're not watching D2 college basketball. They're not watching that. They're not watching Morningside play college basketball. They're watching them because we're in the same. They're going to be in the tournament at some point. Like we could theoretically play them at some point in the NCAA tournament. If they're in a different championship, we're not watching them. We didn't watch the FCS. Like we don't watch the FCS. I mean, if they're on ESPN, maybe you watch the FCS playoffs, but you're not making like an appointment to watch, the FCS playoffs for the most part. But
yeah, personally, I do watch FCS just because I'm a South Dakota State alum. But
you have a rooting interest though. Like you have a rooting interest in the FCS playoffs.
Yeah,
I don't. I watched the Montana State game because it was the championship game, but like that was it. Like I didn't watch anything I didn't watch any of the previous rounds.
Nothing in the regular season or anything.
Yeah, and I don't watch any regular season FCS football. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. Like I think it would dilute their football product. But they could probably survive on their own on football. But I think the other sports they'd be in bad. Like basketball, like SEC basketball would not matter at that point, which you could. Yeah. Most of those schools I think would be just fine dumping basketball. I think Arkansas and Kentucky would be the only two SEC schools, and Florida maybe, that would care about dumping basketball. But I don't think any of the rest of them would whine too much.
You could argue for Tennessee.
I think if they could dump their basketball program and win a national title in football, I think they would do it in a heartbeat.
Would you do that for Iowa State?
Dump basketball to win a natty in football? No, I wouldn't.
Mm,
Men's
it's a tough
basketball,
call.
dumping men's basketball to win a football natty. I don't know. I wouldn't. Our like ours is different. Like maybe you could say Tennessee's is in the same conversation with us, I guess, because they've just been really good under Rick Barnes. But like historically, Tennessee basketball is very kind of whatever.
Yeah.
Like, but like South Carolina, they would dump their men's basketball program.
Yeah.
They would dump their football. Like I said, Kentucky, maybe Tennessee, Florida, probably not, and who else did I say? Kentucky, Florida, and
Bama. Is Bama in there?
No, Bama would dump their. Well, I don't know. Has Bama won enough football titles that they're just like, we're bored with that. Let's win a basketball. I don't know. But if relegation came into play, well, I mean, like if it. Are you saying like if the Big Ten and SEC broke away and then like you could relegate in and out of that like upper league? I
mean,
it makes it interesting. I still don't know if I'd be like inclined to watch a ton of those games. I don't think. Maybe you watch some towards the end of the season on teams that you think might be going down, but like, I don't know.
I wouldn't think so.
I
wouldn't purposely.
Yeah. I mean, like, do I care about an Ohio State Georgia game in that league if they're both at the top and like I would say it's not going to play them this year? Like, do I care about that? Not really. I don't think. I also don't. I mean, I don't see pro rel as a realistic option in college just because the conferences are so. It's the geographics and the conferences thing. Like I just don't see how pro rel works in college football.
No,
I think you could maybe make it work. I think you could make it work in maybe. The problem is the way American minor leagues are set up is that they're all affiliates of a team that's in the upper league. It's not like, it's not like in the NBA you could do pro rel and then like, let's say the Hornets fucking suck one year, you drop them down and you bring up the team from Maine or something like that. Like the team from Maine is connected to the Celtics. They feed to the Celtics. So like you can't just their Maine Red Claws. You can't just put Maine in the NBA. Like you have like you can't quite do that. So Super League, famously unpopular idea by anybody that's ever proposed for any league that's ever proposed it. Famously unpopular idea. It was so unpopular that the soccer world told them to fuck off immediately as soon as someone proposed that idea. Would you move to D2 in football to win a natty in basketball? I don't think you need to. I would not do that because Iowa State can win a natty in basketball as is. They don't like if you have TJ in this program and you fund it properly, Iowa State can win a national championship in basketball. We don't need to do anything in football. Like you don't need to give up anything for Iowa State to win a national championship in basketball.
No. I mean, NIL would be nice, but
yeah, but like we can do better going forward in NIL for basketball than we have in the past.
Yeah,
I'll say that. Iowa State can win a national championship in basketball without doing anything different with any other sport. Then you don't need to make sacrifices anywhere else for them to do that. You could, I mean, like if Joshua Jefferson doesn't get hurt, I mean, maybe we're talking about it now. It's just kind of one of those things. So there isn't anything that I would do with men's basketball or football as far as like cutting one down to win a natty and the other one. I wouldn't give that up. Especially like our basketball program. Would you really give up a basketball program right now that is capable of winning a national title? Would you realistically give that up just for a football national title? I mean, if I had to pick one to win, I would prefer to win a football national title, but I'm a football guy or whatever. But I'm not going to give up a near national title-ish contender like here and there type of thing. I'm not ready to give up that type of basketball program to win one in football. I don't know.
It's a cool hypothetical, but
It's an interesting hypothetical, I
yeah.
guess, but I just can't justify it in my mind ever. This is like if this was if you'd asked me this in 2020 and we went 2-28, I'd be like, I don't know.
Then, I mean, yeah, that's a no-brainer.
I think you'd have been able to convince me in 2020, especially because like in 2020 where we got Brock Purdy, Breece Hall, they're like fringe, like maybe they make a playoff type of thing. 2021 they should have made a playoff type of they should have been good enough to make a playoff, and we suck at basketball. Do we just say, dump the basketball, let's go win our natty like right now? I think you would have got me on that one, but yeah. So, I don't know. You got anything else you want to touch on for today?
I don't think so. I know you got to get to the mail.
I got to get to the nightcap here in a little bit.
Yeah,
but
yeah, I don't think so.
All right, cool. Well, we appreciate everybody stopping in for this episode of I Was at Cyclones Live here on the Voice of College Football Network. Plan is next week to be back on Tuesday. Hopefully, I don't think anything should be coming up, but if something comes up, we'll let you guys know. We'll see what we got to talk about next week. It's in the off season. It's kind of dry. If not, we'll probably start doing some off season ranking stuff like that. Maybe ranking position groups, things like talking about like ranking the schedule in terms of difficulty, stuff like that. We'll probably get some more off season stuff like that. So everybody, thank you for watching this episode of Iowa State Cyclones Live here on the Voice of College Football Network. I'm Levi Stevenson for Carter Hansen. We'll see you guys all again next week at our normal time, Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central. Have a good weekend. A good week. Enjoy your Memorial Day weekend. Go Cyclones.